One of the main ways for stretching a ring, I have a steel jeweler's ring mandrel here. I almost forgot what it was called. Oh my god. I also made these little doohickeys. It's just a piece of brass shaped and bent on the edges, and what that does is it keeps the mandrel from heading like this, because usually when it's clamped in here it's only held on one point, so it pivots. So I have two of these, one on each end, to hold the mandrel in place. If I can remember which way to turn it to tighten it, I'm good. So once you get it in place, you need to think about the kind of ring you're doing. If you're working with a ring that has a very thin shank or very narrow here, you want to be careful that you don't overstretch it so much that you make it fragile and unwearable. You also have to, because these are channels set in here, you need to keep the hammer well away from this area, because hammering on this will open that area up and the stones can fall out. So anything with a stone, you want to stay far away from the stone. So I'd only be working on the area, 4 millimeters back to here. This is not a great technique using the steel hammer on this for obvious patterns or anything that has a raised texture on it. So normally you can stretch with a leather mallet, that's what this is, or wood or plastic mallet, about one size, which would be a quarter of a size. This ring mandrel here is marked with quarter and half sizes, and this ring is at a 10 right now. You can tell because this line here with the size above it will indicate what size it is, but that line in a wider band especially should be in the middle of the band. Turning the ring shank as I hammer, and then I pull it off and flip it in the other direction, because you're working on a cone shape here and you don't want your ring to be cone shaped. Now conversely, especially if let's say I wanted to stretch this even more, and I would use a steel faced hammer. You want it to be mirror shiny, because anything that's on here will transfer onto here. But I could even shrink this a little bit if I brought it into an area where there's a lot of space around it, and kind of bring it in on itself a bit. I don't know how much you're going to be able to shrink it. It is a possibility. Yeah, I kind of brought that a little bit back to a 10. But if you want to stretch it, you're going to put it on the wider end and hammer. I try to place the blows pretty much one right after the other, and try to keep track of where you started, so you know. And that once again gets flipped. So that's that. I'm just going to hammer away. La la la. Now I've got a 10.5. Lucky me.